Welcome back to Authentically Her After 40, where we keep it real about healing, growth, and stepping into our most powerful, unapologetic selves. My name is Natalie, and thank you for joining me. Today's conversation is going to be a deep one. We're diving into the world of accountability, not just waiting for others to give it, but taking it for ourselves. We're talking about healing after being hurt by those who pretend nothing happened. Have you been there? And we're going to also talk about how to navigate this world with clarity, grace, and strength when people refuse to own their part. So let's get into it. The pain of pretend forgetfulness. Oh yes, they are pretending. Generally, we do not forget when we have done something to hurt someone. But when someone hurts you and acts like nothing happened, it's not because they forgot. It's definitely not because they forgot. No one forgets the moment when they crossed the line or shattered trust. They suppress it, they avoid it, because remembering would mean they have to take responsibility, and responsibility requires change. And let's be honest, change is hard. It demands humility, vulnerability, and a lot of hard work. But here's where we, as women committed to growth, need to pause. While it's true they're avoiding their accountability, we need to ask ourselves, where have we avoided ours? Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. We're not talking about blaming ourselves for someone else's bad behavior. We're talking about the subtle way we stay in these dynamics, hoping, explaining, and justifying over giving. And that's our work to heal. This is our part to heal. We can't keep hoping, explaining, justifying, and overgiving in situations where others have behaviors that affect us. When someone hurts us and goes silent, acts normal, or deflects, it messes with our minds. We start questioning our reality. Was I too sensitive? Did I overreact? Maybe it wasn't that bad. This confusion isn't random. It's a result of their deflection. But here's our piece. When we stay in that confusion, when we silence our own truth for their comfort, we're giving away our power. And ladies, we are here to take our power back. Our healing starts when we stop waiting for their acknowledgement and start validating our own experiences. It's natural to want closure. It's human to want someone to say, I see the pain I caused, and I'm sorry. But what if they can't? What if they won't? Do we stay frozen, waiting for what may never come? No. We take our power back by holding ourselves accountable, not for their actions, because that's for them to deal with, but for how long we let those actions define our worth, our story, and our path forward. Accountability in healing looks like this. You start to own where you abandoned yourself to keep the peace. You start seeing where you stayed silent to avoid conflict. And you start acknowledging where you hoped someone would change instead of choosing yourself. This isn't about self-blame. It's about self-liberation. And when you do this, it is so liberating. You are no longer bound to whatever action the other person has decided not to take accountability for. You now take full accountability and you decide how you're going to move on. That's very powerful. Understanding the dynamic helps us heal, because people who avoid accountability do so because they fear what it will cost them emotionally. Admitting that they harm someone else means that they have to face the guilt, the shame, and the consequences of their actions. It means seeing themselves in a light they've worked so hard to avoid. This is the person that wants to be seen as perfect and infallible. And admitting that they have harmed you would take away from the picture they've created for themselves. And for many, that's too much. So they stay silent. They smile. They post the happy pictures. They act like the storm never happened. And here's the truth that sets us free. Their avoidance is not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their limits. Because, truth be told, that shame and that guilt that comes with admitting the harm is still there. They're just role-playing and pretending that it's not. This role of silence is their strategy. So we need to understand that. You need to understand that. Silence in these dynamics isn't emptiness. It's a weapon. It's a tactic. When they say nothing, it shifts the weight onto you. And that's very powerful if you let it happen. You start questioning your memory, your feelings, your reactions. And that's the whole point. They want you to question these things because it keeps them feeling whole. It keeps them safe in their comfort while you carry the confusion of the situation. But here's the reframe. We don't have to carry what isn't ours. We can choose to see their silence for what it is, a refusal to grow, and stop letting it make us question our truth. Because accountability, taking accountability, is all about growth. Now, how do we navigate this world when so many are avoiding their emotions? This is emotional avoidance at its best. So how do we navigate it when people behave this way? One, we stay grounded in our reality. Journal it, say it out loud, share it with a trusted friend, and don't let their silence erase your truth. Their silence will cause you to ruminate about what has happened. And part of that rumination is you questioning your feelings, your reaction, what really happened. Is something wrong with you? Nothing is wrong with you. As long as you stay grounded in your reality, say it out loud if you need to, share it with a trusted friend, your truth, the truth remains. And number two is probably the hardest part, I feel, because you have to stop performing your pain. You don't need to cry louder or explain harder to make someone hear what they refuse to hear. If they don't want to hear it, they're just not going to. And it becomes more frustrating when you continue to cry louder, explain harder, and you just can't get through. Remember, it's their strategy. They're not going to let you get through. The whole idea is to shapeshift, I guess, or to shift the weight onto you. Next, you got to set boundaries, not ultimatums, because we can't make anyone do anything. Boundaries are about what we will do to protect our peace, not about trying to force someone else to change. Because once you jump into the dynamic of trying to make someone else to change, you are fighting a losing battle. Setting a boundary where you decide what you're going to do to protect your peace, whatever that is, that's power. And then you want to just, moving forward, you want to choose relationships where accountability is mutual. You got to stop chasing repair from people who can't meet you in that space. Right? When you notice in a relationship that someone is not taking accountability, it may not even be with you. It might be with someone else. If they do it with someone else, they will do it with you. And they will not be able to meet you in that space. And we've all been there where maybe we didn't want to take accountability. But if you are ascending and you are now taking accountability and you keep navigating these relationships, you're going to end up kicking and screaming for no reason at all. And the last part of navigating this is how you are going to redefine closure. Because we all need closure, right? But you're not always going to get closure from the other person. They don't want to give up the persona that they've created, the ideal or the picture that they've created of themselves to make you feel better. Because it's not about you, it's about them. So closure is about what you give yourself when you choose to heal and move forward, no matter what they do. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you get an apology. It doesn't matter if you get them to be accountable. But when you set boundaries, clear boundaries about what you're going to do to protect your peace, you can now define what closure looks like for you. And that can look like you deciding that you're going no contact. That's closure. And you got to leave it there, right? And understanding that you're not going to get an apology. You're not going to get an I'm sorry. They are not ready to face their guilt and their shame. And I always say that, you know what, there's no reason to sit in guilt and shame. But when we do something wrong, those are the first emotions that tend to come up. And people that act in this way have worked really hard to suppress those emotions. They don't want to feel it. So they rather sacrifice you and the relationship with you rather than feel those emotions and take accountability. Now, you're probably wondering, how is this helping me step into authenticity? Well, when you stop waiting for someone else to validate your pain, you reclaim your power. You start living from a place of truth and no longer feeling confused, because there's no confusion. You know what happened. They know what happened, whether or not they admit it. And you move forward from there. You stop shrinking to fit someone else's comfort zone, right? Because not stepping into your authenticity and staying in that place of confusion keeps you in a relationship dynamic where the person is constantly not taking accountability when they do something, and they constantly place the blame on you. When you step into your authenticity, you speak your needs, your boundaries, your truth, not to change someone else, but to honor yourself. And once you speak the needs, boundaries, and truth, you take the actions to honor your needs, your boundaries, and your truth. No matter what they think. No matter how they feel at that point. Because it's not for you to shrink so that they feel better. Authenticity is built when we choose self-trust over external validation. When you stop negotiating with people who refuse to meet you with honesty. When you stop hoping they'll change and start changing how you show up yourself. That's you stepping into your power. This is how you step into your unapologetic self. Because it's ironic. They caused the damage, but they want you to apologize. We're no longer apologizing for what others have done to us so that they feel better. By owning your part, not their harm. By healing. By choosing peace over performance, because it's a performance, isn't it? When you're jumping through hoops in confusion and being told that you overreacted, you didn't overreact. You absolutely did not overreact. You just know your truth. Now set the boundary and move forward. Your authenticity comes by remembering that you do not need anyone's permission to be whole. So, if you're in a space today waiting for an apology, waiting for someone to finally see what they did, let this be your reminder that you are not too sensitive, you are not too much, you are not asking for too much. You are asking for accountability from someone who isn't willing or able to give it. And that's not your burden to carry anymore. Your healing is yours. Your peace is yours. And you can choose that today, right now, in this moment. If this message spoke to you, stay connected here for more honest conversations, deep reflections, and tools to help you heal and rise stronger. Together, we're building a community of women who choose truth, growth, and authenticity every single day. Thank you for joining me on Authentically Her After 40 for this powerful message. And remember, your authenticity is your superpower. Keep rising.